Welcome back to our Intro to SOLIDWORKS video series. In this video, we're going to talk about file management in the context of SOLIDWORKS. Reviewing back over what we've covered in SOLIDWORKS types of files that we've worked with so far, we started out creating part files, right? So if we look at this assembly or partial assembly of a utility trailer that I have open right now, if we look over in the feature tree, we can see that this assembly, the trailer assembly, is made up of a number of parts. This frame is a part, this hitch at the end is a part, and then it has a few sub-assemblies or other assemblies that include parts themselves. So I could open up, for example, this upright is a single part, right? It's a really simple shape that's then used multiple times within that stake side sub-assembly. If we're looking at the feature tree again, we can see that 1x5 by 1x5 upright is used 1, 2, 3, 4 times, and you can see that it's the same file, there's 4 iterations of it there. Then there's a couple individual parts within that subassembly that are each only used once, and I can take a look at each one of those if I want to. I can open the part and edit that part, or if we want to open this side panel, we can do that. Sorry, waiting for SOLIDWORKS to catch up here. Okay, there we go. Now we're back in the assembly. So if I wanted to look at maybe say the bottom angle piece, I can open that up. So you can see it's an angle iron, or in this case that must be aluminum that I was working with. So those are part files, right? The most basic building block of our SOLIDWORKS files. And then we compare those parts into assemblies. So again, I could open this whole sub-assembly of the stake side, and you can see it's made up of instances of the upright, the panel, bottom angle, and top rail. So an assembly includes multiple part files, or it can also include other assembly files. If we go back and look at the trailer assembly, just to review, it is an assembly trailer. You can tell by the file type there, the yellow Tetris block with the blue one showing multiple parts. And then within it, it has 2 other assemblies, the stake side and the trailer tire. So that's talking about the difference between part files and assembly files. One thing that sometimes people don't realize is that when they save an assembly file, so if we go File and Save Our Assembly, let's look at what's in that file. So this is under Projects, and then Project, go down to Trailer. Okay, so here's the folder that has most of the parts that trailer's in. And if we look for our trailer assembly, you can see that file is right here, trailer solid assembly. And if we look at it, it's about 2 megabyte file, and it's got a number of other pieces in it. For example, it has the stake side. So if I look for stake side assembly, here it is. Let's look at that one. The stake side assembly, its file size is only 72 kilobytes. We know that within that stake side, if we come back up and look at stake side, within it, it has a 1.5 upright, and it's got 4 instances of that. It's got the side panel, top rail, and bottom rail. But if we look at the file sizes for stake side, it's 72 kilobytes. Look at side panel. It's 233 kilobytes. So clearly, the assembly file does not actually include the part files in them, right? The file size would have to be a lot bigger if it included the all the subcomponents as well. So it's a really important distinction to note. Assembly files, all they include are the information that relates their subassemblies to each other. It doesn't actually include the part files. So for example, if I want to send this whole trailer assembly to somebody, if I just send them, let's go back to that again. If I just find the trailer.solidassembly, if I send them this file right here, but don't send them all the part files and subassembly files, they won't be able to open it. And that's a common misunderstanding when people are first getting used to working with SOLIDWORKS. And I'll show you what happens if we do that. And how I'm going to pretend that happens, that somebody sent an assembly file without all the subfiles. I'm going to close everything I have open here. So I'm actually going to close all the way out of SOLIDWORKS. And then I'm going to copy this trailer. Actually, what I'll do is I'll move everything else. So let's copy this trailer solid assembly. And let's just put it on my desktop for now. And then I'm going to rename the file that holds all of the parts. So instead of trailer, now I'll call it trailer-moved. And that's going to make it so that that solid assembly no longer has the right references to the files within it. So now that I've done that, let's go ahead and reopen this trailer assembly. Okay, and so you can see what it came up with is it's saying, hey, I can't find the parts. So I can go to Browse for File. That's one option. And now I can go look and find all the parts. So I could do that by going, Project, and now find Trailer Moved and say Open there. And now when I say open, it's going to look for that one part that it was saying, hey, I can't find. And then it's going to recognize, oh, everything must be in this new folder. So it's recreating the links to it. So that's how I can fix that. So now it's finding everything again. But let's break that again. Let me close it without saving it and try it again and not show it where the new files are. Okay, so again, it's saying, hey, I can't find it where it's supposed to be under this trailer folder, and that's because, remember, I renamed trailer, but it's the same thing that would happen if somebody did not send you the part files. So it's going ahead and trying to open it without the files, but it's saying, it's recognizing, hey, I don't know where they are. So everything that was in that folder that's no longer named trailer is now shown as suppressed. If we look over here in the feature tree, you can see they're grayed out and there's a warning sign saying, hey, I can't find these. And it comes up with a report saying what the issue is. And if I click on View Report, it's saying, I can't find these files where they're supposed to be. And so again, if I want to fix that, I can right click on this and I can come down to, let's see, where is it? It should be called, there it is, Replace Components. I could navigate to it there. That's one way to fix it. So if I go Replace Components and then look for it, browse one, so frame one, trailer, so I need to find the frame part, which is right there. And then and so now it found the part because I showed it where the part would be. And I could do the same thing for stake side. So that's a way you can repair it. If that happens, somebody sends you an empty assembly and then later on sends you the parts, you can fix it that way. But how do we avoid having this issue in the first place? So let's close this out again. I'm not going to save it. Go back to the folder again and look for trailer moved, and I'm going to fix the name back to what it should have been, just trailer. Okay. And then reopen the assembly again, and it should find everything now. Yeah, so everything's there now. So let's take a look at, let's say I wanted to think ahead and not make this mistake. I know I want to send the parts along with the assembly to somebody. So a common issue that people have again is they would just come to this folder. I'm working on the trailer. Here's the trailer solid assembly. If I just copy everything here, that's going to be enough. So if I just sent all these, part files and assembly files off to my coworker, that would work. And sometimes that will work if everything truly is in that same folder. But in this case, everything isn't in one folder. And I can know that by going up to File and Find References. And this is a great tool that shows you where every part and assembly that's within this bigger assembly is located. So you can see here, most of my parts are in that folder we were just looking at, trailer. But then 3 pieces, this assembly and its 2 parts that are part of it, are in an example parts folder for the Engineering 248 class. And the hitch ball coupler looks like I downloaded that from McMaster Carr using their great SolidWorks part, catalog that we've looked at in previous videos. So it's in its own folder under McMaster. So if I had just sent the files under trailer, I would have missed the whole wheel subassembly and the solid part, the hitch coupler part. So this find references is a great way to figure out what files do I need to send along to make sure somebody has everything that's created in the assembly. That's if you want to just look at it, and you can print this list, copy this list. What's even cooler though is the link to copy files. And what this does is take you to the folder that's really the pack and go tool. So here you can see it's bringing up every part that's associated with this assembly, and it's giving me an option. Do I want to save these in a folder? I can do that. Or what's even kind of handier sometimes is I can save it to an already compressed zip file. And for those of you who are taking my SolidWorks class, this zip file option is really convenient because if you remember, sometimes Blackboard, depending on certain types of assignments, won't let you submit more than one file. So if you have an assembly, file and maybe it has 8 parts, that's at least 9 different files that you would need to submit. So if you just save, you can save all of them to one compressed zip file by doing this. So if I just want to put this on my desktop, let's say, so I'll say desktop and call it example pack and go and hit save and save. Now let's go look on my desktop. I've got this right here, example packandgo.zip. If I uncompress that, Windows can do that, or if you already have another zipping tool on your computer, that's fine. So I'm just going to extract all to here, that's fine. And when I look inside that, there's all the files that are used within the assembly. So now, if I just open Trailer Tire Solid Assembly, I've already got one open with that name, so it's not going to like that. So let's close SolidWorks and open it again. Oh, that's just, I opened the wrong one there. Open the Trailer Solid Assembly. There you can see that it came with all the parts that I needed for this assembly to be complete. And if I go to look at file references again, find references now, you'll see there all the files are in that single folder that came out of the zip archive. So this is really important that you pay attention to this if you are in one of my SolidWorks classes, because I will ask you to include all the necessary files in a single zip archive so that I can download it and review your assembly without having to look for individual parts, etc. Okay, so we got to the pack and go that time by going File, Find References, and then going to Copy Files. But if you know you're wanting to create a zip archive right from the start, right next to that Find References, you can see there's Pack and Go right above that. So go to File, Pack and Go, and it takes you right to this dialog window where you can choose options. And one thing that is important to notice too is sometimes I'll ask you to submit part files, assembly files, and any drawings you have as well. And you can do that by clicking up on Include Drawings. So it looks like I didn't have any drawings in this one because this is the Pack and Go version, but if I close this and go back and open the assembly file under Trailer, that's my original parent one, right? So find my Trailer Solid Assembly. This is the one that I was working with originally, right? My actual one that I'm keeping. It does have a drawing associated with it. So if I go to File, Pack and Go, and click on Include Drawings, you can see it added into the list of things it's including into the folder or zip file, the solid drawing file as well. So that's probably the most likely option you'll use right now, but you can play around. If you have toolbox components or other custom information, you can include that as well. let's say, for example, I wanted you to submit your assembly file, including all the part files, but then I also wanted you to include a couple screenshots. Obviously, you can't add the screenshots from within this pack and go window, but what you could do is save to folder. So in this case, I'm not going to create a zip file, but I'm going to bring all these files from different locations from, if you go back and look where it is, some of these are in trailer, some of them are in McMaster, some of them in example parts. I'm going to create a new folder. Let's do it on my desktop again. So I'll say example new folder. Okay, so put it on my desktop, select folder, and it's going to create a new folder here, and I'll want to include my drawings. Okay, and actually I do want to create the folder before I'm going to do that so that it's nice and neat, it doesn't crowd up my desktop. So I'm going to go onto my desktop, say example new folder here, and then come back to SolidWorks, do my file, pack and go, saved a new folder, and now let's browse to my desktop, example new folder, select that folder. Okay, and I got my drawing selected, that's good, and I'll say save. Let's close this now and go look at my desktop again. So in that example new folder, you can see everything is here now, including the solid drawing. And now, if I had told you that I wanted you to include screenshots and whatnot, I can add any files that I want into this folder here, this example new folder. So here I have some images for other SolidWorks screenshots. Let's copy those, put them into my new folder. So now you can see I've got all the SolidWorks stuff that SolidWorks put in there via pack and go, and then I've got some screenshots as well. Now I can use any zip utility. So I just right click. The easiest way if you're using Windows is just right click on it and say send to compressed folder, and I can name it again. I can say, let's call this let's say SolidWorks and screenshots. So now this is a single file that includes all my SolidWorks files and the screenshots that you could upload to Blackboard if you're one of my students, or that you can email to a colleague if you're trying to send them a combination. Let's say you wanted to include a bill of materials and an Excel spreadsheet of calculations. You can do all those things by putting them into the folder first and then zipping it. And then once, if you receive these from somebody, then you just right click on it again and extract it all. And I will have, there's my new folder with all my screenshots and all the SolidWorks parts. I hope that's helpful to you. Just as a review, pack and go is your best friend if you are trying to transfer assembly files and their sub-part files, sub-assemblies, drawings, etc. You can either create a zip file directly from within pack and go, or you can create a folder that you then zip after adding other files that might be useful to you. I hope that's helpful. Make sure you're comfortable with this process, as you'll need to be able to submit things to me if you're in one of my classes about this. Thanks.